Persolaise. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you've tuned in live to this stream from YouTube, where we are going to be smelling this, I received the sample a short while ago. It's still sealed. I have no idea what this is going to be. This is going to be a genuine, is it love at first scent or not? This is the new, and I love the fact that Serge Lutens is really making some of us mangle the French language, because this is, I'm not even going to try and say it properly. La Dompteuse, so I can't say it with a straight face. Okay. La Dompteuse Encagee, which apparently means the caged tamer. But I suppose it's significant, I'm sure it's significant that tamer, the dompteuse, is feminine, has been put into the feminine form of the noun. So it's the caged tamer, and the tamer is female. And I think for the rest of this episode, we're just going to call it Encagee, if you don't mind, if that's okay with you. We'll put it into a little bit of context. Just a few bits and pieces of housekeeping to get out of the way. Please consider subscribing to my channel if you haven't already done so, and please consider supporting my work on Ko-fi. All of your support is extremely welcome and extremely valuable and much appreciated. You will find details of that in the video description below. And as per usual, there will be a blotter update, probably tomorrow morning. What I mean by that is that we mustn't make lasting impressions of a perfume or come to firm conclusions about a perfume just after an initial sniff. These videos are very much about initial sniffs, first thoughts. But then a few hours after the end of the broadcast, I go back into the video description and I do a brief write-up of how the scent has developed on the blotter, and then I also do a much more detailed write-up. I usually do a much more detailed write-up over on the blog on persolaise.com. So let's see who gets the first comment. Druba says, aha, first, well done. And Sylvia says, hello again. Q George says, let's see what Uncle Serge has for us this time. Kazizi has the video frozen for anybody else. Oh, I'm not gonna, that's not happening. I'm not having that jinked. And Martina says, double adventure again. The one I've been waiting for. Almost blind bought this morning, says DCJ IMR. Glad I didn't. Okay, let's find out. Extremely excited, says Herb. Hi from Miami, Florida. Persolaise, always a pleasure to be with you, says I'm Leo. Thank you very much for tuning in. And I should also say, regardless of whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording, you can leave comments, ask questions. Okay, as we unseal Encagee, what we need to say was that Uncle Serge has been having a bit of a good run lately. I seem to remember that it was probably about a year ago, coming up to a year, that I reviewed the clove scent, the des clous pour une pelure. Sorry, I don't speak French, okay? And then we also had Fils De Joie, which I really loved. We had Tarab, which perhaps was not quite as interesting as Fils De Joie. The one from last year that I really didn't particularly care for very much was the Périlleusement Vôtre. And I think I think a written review of that should come up on persolaise.com quite soon. But Fils De Joie was great. Beautiful jasmine, sort of North African jasmine. I saw somebody saying, who's the perfumer? The brand never officially say who the perfumer is, but I think it's kind of generally accepted that the perfumer now is Christopher Sheldrake, that it's always Sheldrake who makes the scents. Let us see the color of this one. I mean, I know that Lutens artificially color their scents, but this is a, oh, this reminds me of Chergui. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to see that color there. Can you see that? What's the color reproduction like? To me, sitting here, it looks very much like the color of Chergui. I unfortunately know a little bit of what this is meant to be like because I attended the online press launch. So I know that it's meant to be a kind of ylang ylang, frangipani almond scent. I suppose I don't actually need to spray this. This is always tense, isn't it? When it's a brand that essentially you like and you want to love all the perfumes. Eric says, I still have a lot of time for Lutens. I like a lot of the releases from the past few years. I still have time for them as well. Absolutely, I completely do, even though I like some of them more than others. The first live I've caught, says Lynn. You're very welcome. Gavin says, La Vierge en Fer, or Vierge de Fer, wasn't it? He's into things people can be trapped in. Yes, all of that imagery is always there. Right, let's do this. I'm going to dip the blotter into this. Why do we get so nervous about these things? I don't know about you, but I get really nervous. Very, very richly. Actually, I'm not going to put that one back on because I want to use the spray. Do most people just put the spray thing on? Because I've never not done that with the Lutens. I've always put the spray thing on. I wonder what the next name will be. Ch Chapeau. What is it? Chapeau melon et bottes de cuir. Oh, God. By the way, if you do speak French, let me know if there's any other significance to this name, okay? Because there usually is some kind of a punning reference in a Lutin's name. The terrifying moment before you smell a Serge for the first time. Pressure's on, says Audrey. Okay, I am doing this. Let's do this. Let's go there. Okay. Oh wow, it's a way quieter than I thought it would be. So much quieter. I love the splash caps, but not splash itself. Oh, as in yes, yeah, I know what you mean. The caps actually I think finish off the bottle better than these ones, don't they? I leave the spray on and the little screw top rattles around, says Struva. I'm going to put some of this on skin straight away as well, actually. I'll spray it onto skin. I think after Fils De Joie, which was such a room-filling jasmine, and with this one supposedly being a solar ylang ylang frangipani, I think I thought they would be equally room-filling. I think if an initial sniff is anything to go by, this is going to be more pedestrian. And it's not even that overtly ylang-ylangy. It's more doing the solar thing that a lot of perfumes do if they call themselves solar, which is basically lots and lots of diffusive sort of generically floral notes at the top with quite a lot of musks in the base. I don't know if this one is going to be love. It really reminds me of something retro-y, but I'm thinking 90s retro-y compared to the Guerlain Ylang, which you tried not long ago. Oh gosh, no. That one is much more. So that is the Embrun d'Ylang from the L'Art et la Matière range. No, that one is much more diffusive, much more marine-like. This sounds like Religieuse, but with Ylang Ylang. Do you know, I was actually thinking of some of the more quieter ones that he released a while ago. So it was things like, what was the Orpheline? And I must admit, I have to look at my notes for some of the more recent Serge releases because I get confused with them. So things like Orpheline, and I can't remember whether like Baptême du Feu was like a loud one or a quiet one, but Religieuse, and then wasn't there a Don de Lait which also tended towards the quiet, skin-friendly, skin-hugging musks? This is in that mold. This is very definitely in that mold. And I think it's trying... L'Orpheline is giant. Oh, so maybe that's not the one I'm thinking of. I'd have to check my notes. But you know how we have had in recent years the quiet, much more linear, much more streamlined Serge releases, and we've had things like Couche du Diable, which seem to be playing the old Serge Lutens cards. This is so far very definitely in the quiet camp, and maybe that was to be expected because we had Fils De Joie last year, so maybe we were due a quiet one. But what is it reminding me of? This is going to be one where either on the blog, I may need a couple of days for the old memory cells to kick in, and then when I actually write this up on Persolaise.com, I'll go, this is what it reminds me of. Because there is a suggestion of something sweetly woody, and I suppose that could be the frangipani, but in terms of a specific perfume, it's reminding me of something. It's not Songe. It's not Goutal's Songe. It's reminding me of some. masculine, maybe from the 90s. Oh, it's always the most frustrating thing. Let me look at some of your comments. I've not yet been won by a rendition of Plumerian Perfume, says Joanna. What's the story behind the name? I don't know exactly, but we have a little bit of press material that I will share with you in a moment. Baptême du Feu to me always seemed quieter, says Alex, so maybe that's one of the ones I'm thinking about. Hello from Houston, says Cancun Lover 88. I love Serge Lutens. I wonder why Lutens is not regarded higher like Chanel, given that Sheldrake works for Chanel as well. But I kind of like that my favorite brand is ignored. But it's not really that ignored. I mean, in Europe, Lutens is massive and, you know, so revered. So, I don't know. Very Indian-y, Frangipani and Musk, says John Ward, are actually the tamer in the cage. The cage, yes, it's all to do with something being caged. But the fact that it's the tamer that is being caged is interesting. Another Houstonian. Oh, you'll chat away to each other. See, it's not distinctively ylang ylang. It's not even distinctively almond. Seems very subdued. So maybe if you've already got something that's a tamer, and then you cage that, you get like extra taming. So maybe you are going to subdue it even more. Let's look at some of the press material. And as I say, there really isn't a huge amount to share. So one bit that we've got is a quote from Uncle Serge himself, who says, "I cannot disavow this cold, white-powdered girl." White-powdered actually wouldn't be a bad description of this. "Nonetheless, I sense the snow, so dreaded because expected, the coming avalanche. After what the whiteness of the flower has seen, freshness is beyond augur, but the scent of frangipani softens the blow. A taste of subtle almond to be savoured on the skin." Oh, what is that note? It's actually quite a beautiful note, this sort of gently, sweetly woody note. So, to give the brand their due, they are very definitely selling, from that description, something, you know, if you pick out the main words there, cold, white powdered, whiteness of the flower, freshness, softens the blow, subtle almond. So I think basically they are saying, look, do not expect this to be a knock you over the head powerhouse. That's really going to bug me what that note is. I'm going to be doing this for the whole of tomorrow, I think. But it will come to me. And another bit, which is actually direct from the brand's website, and I thought this was interesting. I did read this in advance. It says, "Muzzled language, molded from a one and only way of thinking. La Dompteuse Encagee reminds us of the hazards of a society on the lookout for the slightest misstep. But hope lives on in the revelation of a frangipani blossom that can be savoured right here on the skin." So, some kind of reference to, what is that? Molded from a one and only way of thinking to people being in their own echo chambers and not listening to other points of view, the hazards of social media. But then along comes a Serge Lutens perfume and everything is fine with the world. Do you think that's what they mean? Let me go back to some of your comments. This is definitely going to be one for the blotter update. What have people been saying? Where have I got to? Storytime says Spy Chai. Gavin says all the press releases for Serge Lutens sound like it's about his own inner psychodrama. The perfume rarely seems connected to it, in my opinion. Well, yeah, kind of. Heinke says there is a scene in a silent movie that comes to mind with a very famous actress from the 20s whose name I can't remember now. We're doing a very good job of not remembering things today, aren't we? So it's all about a 140 character limit on Twitter, says Gavin. Yeah, maybe this is the Twitter perfume. Very good. Not a fan of a tamed lion, says I am Leo. Better to release a wild creative beast. Which should I get first, à la nuit or Fils De Joie? I'd rather not get both, says Cancun Lover. Oh, that's got to be up to you. Depends what sort of jasmine you like. If you want your jasmine more straightforward and more soliflorish, go for à la nuit. So what's with the bold colour? Well, good question. It doesn't smell like this colour, not at all. I'm finding Ylang Ylang to be going on a bit too Elong Elong, says John Smith. Seems to be in everything at the moment. I like that. Okay, let's try and round things off. So putting the colour aside and putting the context of what came last year aside, if this is all meant to be about taming and softening and whiteness and solitude and silence, then it absolutely fits the bill and does what it's supposed to do. But before making a final judgment, I will want to wear this a little bit longer because I still want to put this finger. It's almost now making me think of things like Guerlain's Heritage and there's something 90-ish about it. Okay. So, blotter update will be in the video description probably in about 12 hours, and then soon after that we will do I'll try and do a little bit more of a write-up on persolaise.com, but I reckon I will be giving this a proper test run tomorrow. But for now, thank you very much for... last comment again to Gavin. Serge's description of how he came up with Féminité du Bois always makes me think of Louise Brooks in Pandora's Box in the dock. Again, a good place to end. Let's think of that beautiful Louise Brooks haircut, which some of us could probably do with. Anyway, you be good. And actually, for the benefit of those of you watching live, please try to tune in on Thursday. So what's that going to be? The 4th of March, Thursday at 4 p.m. UK time, where I'll be joined by the one and only Max 40, and we're going to be doing a rundown of our perfumes, best of a certain topic. Okay, so not brand or note, but a certain concept. So see you then. Take care. Bye.